In the hall, Xianxia looked calm, Zhang Xiaoju and the other three looked excited. Since tens of thousands of years ago, Supreme Profound Sect's legacy had to move out of Flowing Flame Sandfield. Every generation of people dreamed of returning to their ancestral land one day, but the natural barrier of Flowing Flame Sandfield made them fearful and helpless. Now, Xianxia's proposal is scratching the itch of Yang Xiaoju and others. People from other forces may not be too interested in such a proposal. The ancestors' inheritance belongs to the ancestors. Tens of thousands of years have passed. The sect has developed well. Even the name has been changed. Why bother to return to the ancestral land? But for the people in Star Emperor Mountain, the situation is a little different. Because of their ideas, because of their beliefs, all respect the Great Emperor. Supreme Profound Sect, that was the sect that the Great Emperor single-handedly supported back then. It was the place where the Great Emperor stayed. The Star Emperor Mountain that was created later was not comparable to Supreme Profound Sect. That piece of ancestral land represents not only the respect for the ancestors, but also the worship of the Great Emperor. There is no Star Emperor martial artist who does not want to return to the ancestral land and pay homage to the former residents of the Great Emperor. Xianxia's proposal is in the arms of Yang Xiaoju and others. It can be said that this proposal is more attractive than the first. The first one is only for the three of them, but this one is for everyone. The three of them looked at each other, and they all saw the emotion in each other's eyes. Well, now Senior Yi is also the great elder of my High Heaven sect. Since you are the legacy of Supreme Profound Sect, it is completely fine to enter there and live there. Xianxia strikes while the iron is hot. Are you not afraid that the guest will force the sect master and lead the wolf into the room? Yang Xiaoju looked at Xianxia with gleaming eyes. Asked sharply. Seniors are joking, not to mention that there are elders there. You won't do this, the character of a few seniors the kid has believed in. You are not chasing fame and wealth, I have nothing to worry about. The kid is refreshing. Yang Xiaoju whispered, okay, the old man and the others will help you get things done if you agree to these terms. But let's say in advance that if the same sect of Star Emperor Mountain really goes to the ancestral land, please also sect master Yang leave it alone. Divide an area out for me to live in. We will not join the High Heaven sect. Please understand this, sect master Yang. Don't join. Xianxia twitched his mouth, secretly scolding the old guy for being like a ghost. He tried so hard to draw in and take out the ancestral land to talk about the matter. But he didn't expect to be seen through by the other side, and also said the request in advance. This made him feel very unhappy. One mountain cannot tolerate two tigers. Although Xianxia does not worry that they are really bad for the High Heaven sect, so many Void Return stage powerhouses in Star Emperor Mountain cannot be used for his own use, and it is not what Xianxia wants to see. If that were the case, it would be difficult to guarantee that there would be no friction and conflict between each other for a long time. One thought ends here. Xianxia showed a look of regret. Well, since the predecessors said that the kid naturally has no reason to disobey, but it's a pity. What's a pity? Yang Xiaoju knew that Xianxia might be playing some kind of play tricks, but he still got his appetite. Looking at him suspiciously. Nothing. Xianxia chuckled, I just thought. If you can join the High Heaven sect, you may have the chance to see the Great Emperor's face in time, but if I just divide a separate area for you, this. What? Yang Xiaoju was shocked, and Lin Yuluo and Chu Honey eyes also looked bright. Sect Master Yang, what do you mean by this? Lin Yuluo leaned slightly. Didn't the Great Elder tell you? Xianxia turned his head and looked at Yi Xian. Yi Xian slowly shook her head, understanding Xianxia's plan, but didn't go to demolish his station, but smiled and said, it's a big deal, I didn't dare to say it. And, you really can't talk about this kind of thing casually, the fewer people who know, the better. Xianxia nodded slightly. Sect Master Yang, what did you mean just now? Yang Xiaoju asked eagerly, with an anxious expression on his face. Why did listening from our meeting? It seems that the great emperor is now in the High Heaven sect. When he said this, even he himself was taken aback, and he shook his head quickly, looking unbelievable. Senior is right, the great emperor is indeed in the High Heaven sect now. Yang Kai grinned. How is it possible? Yang Xiaoju and the others stood up suddenly, their bodies trembling, with an expression of hell in the day. The kid doesn't need to deceive the three. If you don't believe it, you can ask the great elder. Yang Kai moistened. The three cast their eyes on Yi Xian, who nodded lightly. Yang Xiaoju was stunned. The shock of the news was like a sledgehammer hitting his forehead fiercely, making him dizzy and unable to return to his sense for a long time. After all, the great emperor is a powerful figure that exists in various legends. Although Yang Xiaoju and others have always believed that the great emperor is still alive and just sleeping in a hidden place, but this is only a belief after all. When beliefs become reality, even those who believe will still have some doubts. It is a kind of fear of gains and losses, for fear of turning their hopes into disappointments. Do you have evidence? Lin Yulao yelled. Do you have any evidence to prove this? Even if there is a great elder as a guarantee, we can't easily believe it, and ask Sect Master Yang to show me the proof. Yang Xiaoju and Chu Hani also recovered and nodded straight to the side. What credentials do you want? Yang Kai laughed. Anything is okay, as long as the matter can be proved, if it's true. Why shouldn't the old man and the others agree to join the High Heaven sect? Yang Xiaoju burst out with a ferocious expression, and would not give up with Yang Kai unless he gave out a proof. The great emperor is in the High Heaven sect. Are they still wronged when they join? If this is the case, let alone Yang Kai not wooing them, he is begging Grandpa to tell Grandma they will also join. Not to mention whether I have any proof or not. Even if there is, if I take it out, you can recognize it again? Yang Kai smiled contemptuously. Whether we can recognize it, the old man and others have their own judgment, but if Sect Master Yang is just slanderous, the old man will not forgive. Yang Kai looked at him for a while. He didn't expect things to develop like this. At this moment in time, he asked him to show his credentials, and he was somewhat powerless. Leisurely, there was a flash of light in his mind, and he laughed. If this is the case, you can be optimistic. When the voice fell, something suddenly appeared in the palm of his hand and held it high. The power of Emperor Prestige, ups and downs. Everyone's expressions changed all at once, and they watched. After a while, Zhang Xiaoju lost his voice and exclaimed, "The Star Emperor's token." It was the Star Emperor's order. It's not that he has never seen the Star Emperor token. There were 2 Star Emperor tokens on Star Emperor Mountain before, one of which was used as a symbol of the Great Emperor and was enshrined on Lingjifeng Peak to be worshipped by the people of Star Emperor Mountain. The other piece serves as a status symbol of the person at the head of Star Emperor Mountain, held by the sect master of the sect. But now, there is only one piece on Star Emperor Mountain left, and the second piece was taken away by Yi Xian back then, and fell into Yangka's hands after being exchanged. Yang Xiaoju has visited Lingjifeng many times to worship the Great Emperor, and he is naturally familiar with Star Emperor token. But the Star Emperor token he had seen were all beings that had already released their might. But this piece of Star Emperor token on Yangka's hand is still intact. That is to say, a kind of divine ability of the Great Emperor is still sealed inside. That is the divine ability that can easily kill the Void King realm powerhouse in the legend. The eyes of the 3 Yang Xiaoju and others trembled violently. Even Yi Xian looked solemn. Both Qiantong and Feijitu's eyes straightened while looking at them. No one thought that Yang Kai actually had such a heavenly thing. With this token, he can easily wipe out the entire Star Emperor Mountain, and even unify the shadowed stars without any problem. In shock, Zhang Xiaoju and the others became extremely frightened, and they were secretly afraid that if Yang Kai was forced to rush things, he would really use this thing to deal with Star Emperor Mountain. He was afraid that none of the 200 people in the mountain could survive. This Star Emperor token was handed to me by the Great Emperor. Believe it or not, I will take it out only if you have to look at the proof. By the way, besides this thing, there is a secret that the Great Emperor told me. I don't know if it can prove what I said before. Sect Master Yang, please say. Xianxia no longer dared to underestimate Xianxia, and he even showed respect. The Great Emperor said that the current flowing flame sand field is nothing more than the 3 rings of flame of the Emperor treasure. You are all elderly people, probably young people have also been to flowing flame sand field, knowing that there are 3-layer blazing area. Those 3-layer blazing area are the 3 rings of fire of Emperor treasure. As for the 1 layer that disappeared a few years ago, it was because the Great Emperor put it away. Everyone's mouth wide open. Have they ever heard of such sensational secrets? Even Yixian didn't know that flowing flame sand field was actually transformed by the Emperor treasure, and she couldn't help but shine in her beautiful eyes. However, the 3 flame rings, the sect ancient book does have records, and it is rumored that it was the secret treasure that the Great Emperor relied on most. It is not unimaginable that a secret treasure has been turned into a forbidden land for tens of thousands of years with the Great Emperor's divine ability. Sect Master Yang said. The first layer of blazing area that disappeared was because the Emperor himself collected a ring of fire. Xianxia asked with a trembling voice. Yes, this Sect Master saw it with his own eyes. Xianxia nodded. There was a sound of cold breath. Just how terrifying the blazing area is. Everyone present knows that when the flowing flame sand field is not opened, anyone who dares to go deep into it will surely die without a corpse, even the 3rd order void return stage. Before the blazing area disappeared by a layer, the whole shadowed star was full of noise, and no one knew what happened, causing such a change in flowing flame sand field. Soon after, High Heaven Sect entered and became the master. Today, from Xianxia here, they got the answer. It's hard to believe it. Looking at the star territory, besides the Great Emperor, who has this ability. For a while, Xianxia and others believed in Xianxia's words by 80%, and the remaining 20% were skeptical, and they were also cautious. Dared ask. The relationship between Sect Master Yang and the Great Emperor. Lin Yulao asked with brilliance in her eyes. If I say I am a confidant, do you believe it or not? Xianxia smiled. Hee hee. Xiaoju's face twitched, and he smiled repeatedly. To be continued.